It's taken Carol Weatherall and Darren Holmes 20 years to build their ideal house and kennels after they were introduced many years ago.
I knew Carol's brother from
both brothers really, wasn't it?
When I was about 18, so known her for quite a while.
So we'd always known each other, hadn't we? Yeah. And then I was married and split up with my husband, and so I just went from there really, didn't it?
And did you both have the interest in greyhounds, or did it come from one of you?
It was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was involved with greyhounds when I was a kid. So,
A Saturday job.
Yeah, and in the school holidays and at night after school, and I was always interested in betting and stuff, so just the two went hand in hand.
So we had a couple for a start, didn't we?
So you were pretty lucky, really, that Carol took to it the way she did, that she's actually ended up as your boss, so to speak.
Yeah, so we bought the kennels, didn't we? And you changed career and looked after the dogs.
Yeah, I used to work in an infant school and middle school as a special needs assistant. So in a way, it's quite similar. Do you know what I mean? It's caring, I suppose, isn't it? A caring atmosphere, really. But yeah, it was totally different because obviously I got the long 6-week holidays and the 2 weeks at Christmas, and we don't get any of that now. But no, it's lovely. We sometimes say it's the best job in the world.
A wonderful place to work. Of course, you're Darren Holmes, Carol Weatherall, and you've got a rubbish excuse for why there's no ring on this lady's finger, haven't you?
We've never had time.
No.
Is it the dogs?
Yeah, it's we've tried. I've tried to get her down the aisle, but
Do you believe that?
No, I don't believe that, but that's probably a conversation for another day. You mentioned your caring side, Carol, and that's very much how you see your role here, isn't it, for the dogs?
Yeah. I love them all, and you get different personalities with the dogs. Some of them are quite calm, some of them are very confident, some of them are way over the top confident. But it's nice to match them up with partners that in the kennel that we think would suit each other, and so we try and do it boy-girl, keep them all happy. I just like them. I just like to treat them really well. They get good food. They get all the supplements, don't they, in their, and vitamins in their diet. They're cleaned out regularly. They blankets and that are all washed regularly. I put them on blankets as opposed to paper or anything. So I try and treat them really like pets, but obviously they've got a job to do, haven't they? But I just think if you can try and treat them a bit like pets and get them used to like having a pet name and used to being around children or different environments, it makes it so much easier at the end of their careers when they go off to their rehoming kennels that they've probably experienced things like I don't know, a kettle boiling, a microwave pinging or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And it seems to make them a bit more confident.
And of course, on site here as well, you've also got another business, which is a cattery and kennels, and it's not just cats and dogs that you have here either. There's plenty of other animals. And is that sort of part funding, what is a career for you guys, but also a bit of a hobby?
It did initially, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it did a little bit, but I mean, it paid for the house more than anything, and somewhere to live, and it comes out of that business. But the greyhounds take an awful lot of funding, and it does get propped up.
And you're actually looking at a bit of a track change at the moment, aren't you? Switching from Perry Bar to Henlow. What's brought that about?
Yeah, well, just somewhere to run pups. We start pups off and hopefully get them graded. But Perry Bar's not gone very well, so too many dogs injured, and it's changes as good as the rest, I think. So.
And we started off at Henlow when we first took the licence out, didn't we? So
back there 10, 12 years ago. So
you mentioned, Carol, the sort of loving side you think is good for racing greyhounds. What about things like food and exercise? What are your beliefs as far as that's concerned?
Well, we try and put the best into them that we possibly can. We feed them a biscuit, brown bread, raw beef when they're racing, pups and that. We give them minced chicken, tripe, sometimes fish. What else? About 5 lots of vegetables a day we cook up, and then we just make it into like a puree, put that on the dinner as well. So really just give them the best that we can do, because we think that what you put into them is what you get out of them. So yeah.
It was quite an education for me today, seeing tripe in its rawest form, Darren, thanks to you.
Yeah, that's Darren's job, going to the abattoir and fetching the tripes.
Yeah, that's just for the pups and the younger dogs.
Yeah. But they do like it, and it's good for keeping the weight on them this time of year if it does get a bit chilly. But they love it, don't they?
Yeah.
They don't leave empty bowls when they've got tripe.
And in terms of facilities here, you guys have spent a fortune, and you certainly couldn't want for anything from swimming pool to walking machines to the machine that you were using earlier, Darren. Tell us about that.
Oh, it's a thermal imaging camera. We've had it a couple of years. And you've got so many dogs, you can't keep running to the vets. And it takes a long time to go over them and that, so we just use that. It just helps, and you can find injuries and see injuries with them, spot them. Just flag things up, so it's very useful.
What are your aspirations in greyhound racing, both of you?
Well, we've won a Scottish Derby. You always think you'd like to win an Irish, don't you? And
Yeah. I mean, like just
a derby, really, isn't it?
Derbies, but I
Yeah.
mean, just to keep winning races. I mean, I think we had 70 open race winners last year, but it's not all about the quantity you get, but I mean, you obviously want to win the good races, So, but those dogs are few and far between now. So.
And talking of competition dogs and great competition dogs, how much of a dream was it to have a dog like Holden Spy here to train him?
Oh yeah, it was. He's probably the best thing we had, really, wasn't he? Sort of, we'd had a few good dogs before. Don't get me wrong. We'd had a few good dogs before.
But he was a superstar.
He was a superstar. I think he opened people's eyes a lot. He's got his own Facebook page still that people are interested in, and obviously it's a joy to have some of his pups. And even though they run the same way he does, they're very slow away, and coming from behind, it's still. I think it's still exciting. It's good to watch.
It's what not just every trainer wants, Darren, but what the sport wants is dogs like Holden Spy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they tend to remember them, don't they? Because Westmead Hawks and stuff like that, that
Follow
it's a bit
tangos
swashbuckling, isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, so people tend to remember it, sticks in the memory, as like just an out and gone and job done all over sort of dog, But I mean, it's so hard getting them, and I mean, people spend fortunes now trying to buy these dogs, and
we were lucky, he wasn't very
we bred him.
expensive. Yeah, and we've sort of bred some really good ones since, from him. So yeah, it's a bonus, obviously, if you can breed them yourself. Yeah, that's a real pleasure.